Hello and welcome to episode 40 of the Spotlight Games podcast. Today we're talking Cuphead. Someone apparently had $40,000 laying around, so they bought some Nintendo stock just to ask them a single question. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to recap the Nintendo Direct and all its exciting announcements and much, much more. I'm your host, Patrick. As always, joining me to my metaphorical right, Cayman Darty. How we doing, Cayman?
I'm doing great, Patrick. I'm doing great.
How many people you think we just got? They're driving. They look down like, uh-oh, did it skip? No,
They're like,
that was just a little pause.
Pregnant pause. Here we go.
Got him.
Here we go. Pregnant pause.
I love just coming out the gates, just getting them. You know what I mean?
Fuck yeah. Oh yeah.
Cayman, last week, you might remember, bit of an unusual episode, bit of a different type of show for us. We were on the JK Games podcast, had a little collab, a little crossover episode. But we're back at it today, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, streaming twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod. How you feeling? We're back in the saddle.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
A long weekend.
Sure.
Got zero rest on the long weekend, but I had some time, was able to play some video games.
Ooh. Well, you know what? Why don't we just kind of jump into it? Let's do some quick little housekeeping. Let's get this house in order and let's hear about those games we've been playing. Because, folks, we got a lot of shit to talk about because this is the Spotlight Games podcast where each week we're going to talk about the latest and the greatest in the world of video games. You can get it by subscribing to our YouTube channel or by searching for Spotlight Games in your favorite podcast app. And hey, you can be on the show by tuning in live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Be in the chat, twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod. Throw your emotes. I think people do that on Twitch. Put your F's in the chat for Cayman because he's dead.
He's dead.
And also Twitter, Spot Games Pod, Instagram, and TikTok, Spotlight Games Pod. Maybe we'll post something on TikTok soon. I have to say, Cayman,
Sure.
we have a barn burner, an absolute barn burner this week on Save Trash Cinema. I don't want to spoil the episode, but it is the most fun I've ever had recording that show. It's the most fun I've ever had watching a movie for that show. Tell the folks at home what we have in store for them this week.
Well, first things first. Save Trash Cinema, guys. Save Trash Cinema. If you're not following us on socials, follow us on socials. If you're not listening to the podcast, you should fucking listen to the podcast. But before you listen to this podcast in particular, the Save Trash Cinema podcast, you should watch the movie. The movie is Demonic Toys.
Unbelievable.
And it's
movie.
very important that you go to Tubi right now. If you're in your car, pull off on the side of the road. Just pull it up on Tubi. It's an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? You can sit there for an hour and 20 minutes. If you got a Tesla, you can probably pull up it on the TV screen. And then if you're lucky enough, your Tesla won't start back up again because it's stuck there.
Yep.
Like happened to old Gary Whitta.
Oh,
so we did Demonic Toys, and I can't even begin to explain how ridiculously funny just the mind melt that happened during the recording of that episode.
Yeah, if you've not tuned in yet to Save Trash Cinema, I think this is the one that'll get you interested because this show, I feel like I think I maybe overused the word unhinged.
Not in regards to this.
That episode truly capital U unhinged. So give it a little peek-see with your ears on the old podcast service because hey, that one's not on video. So just go to your podcast app, download it, give us a little rating, give us a review. But Cayman, enough of that. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. You mentioned you've been playing some video games. Let's talk about it. What have you been playing?
Yes. So this is what's been going on, right? So if our audience, if you guys checked out JK Games, you heard me talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. But when I get on these episodes, the last few weeks, I've said, I've been playing Evil Dead. I've been playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I've been playing Nobody Saves the World. I'm spread thin. Okay. And then I started thinking, and the voices, the audience's spirits, their souls came to me, Patrick. They said, Cayman.
What do they say?
We need you to play something different. Play something new. Play something
How do they sound?
Heard.
How do they sound when they said that?
Like
can you give us a little? Can you run it back and give us a little?
Yeah, it sounds a lot. It's like, ooh, Cayman, please play something new because we're tired of hearing you play the same shit every week. So I did.
The opening of that kind of sounded like the plane train.
So, but the thing was,
airport.
it does, yeah. And so the thing was, I was like, well, I don't want to let our audience down. I don't want to let them down by playing something bad. I don't want to let them down by playing something that's been so overplayed or over reviewed, right? So I was like, I got a deep dig. I got a deep dig, okay?
You got a deep dig.
I got a deep dig. And I said, Cayman, what is a masterpiece that has not been reviewed on this show yet?
Oh, God.
And so I sat down on Sunday. And I plugged in my PS5, booted it up, and I started playing a little game called Adrift on the cloud streaming service.
I really thought you were going to say Bulletstorm.
And I made it about 25 minutes in before it was like, yeah, your internet doesn't work well enough for us to use cloud streaming, so you can't do that. So I played motherfucking Bulletstorm again.
Oh, you got me.
Yeah, I did. I played it again, one full sitting,
You
beat
bastard.
the game, one full sitting. Let me tell you, is it a masterpiece? Yes. Was there glitches that were funny as shit, like characters popping out, dialogue didn't play, random shit blowing up that shouldn't have? Yes. Was it perfect? Absolutely. Are there enough dick jokes to fill an entire James Gunn movie? Absolutely. Was it a perfect experience? I would like to say yes. It was 100% a perfect experience.
I'd like to add to the picture you've painted for our audience so far.
Mm-hmm.
A little peek behind the curtain.
Okay.
Leading into the show today, you were like, I'm really excited to talk about this game. It's something we have common ground on. We've not really talked about before. And I flat out guessed Bulletstorm. And you're like, why would it be Bulletstorm? You have never played it. And I talk about it all the time. And I believed you. You got me. Mm-hmm. And here we are. Even halfway through your spiel, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be Bulletstorm. And then you got me with the old Adrift curveball, the old Adrift ball.
Yep. So good
Honestly,
news is,
job well done.
Thank you. Good news is Bulletstorm still a 10 out of 10 game.
Okay.
Bad news is PlayStation's cloud streaming service sucks ass.
No. What kind of internet do you have? You have good internet, right?
Yeah, I have good internet. I've never had issues whatsoever with my internet, ever. And I play a lot of online multiplayer games.
Yeah.
And I've never had an issue. I literally made it not even 25 minutes in. And it was like, beep, beep, beep. Yep, this isn't going to cut it. Your service isn't strong enough. And that was that.
It's not a good sign.
No, not at all. And so I'm a little bit worried about what the cloud stream looks like. And I don't know if it's Sony. I don't know if it's just we're not quite there yet. But that was a bit of a bummer. But it did give me the time to be able to go back in, play some Bulletstorm, and just really feel like what good video games feel like. Because I don't
know what a real masterpiece looks like.
Yeah, because it's rare that you get a masterpiece like Bulletstorm.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You son of a bitch. You got me.
What have you?
Is that all you've been playing? Just Bulletstorm?
That's all I've been playing. Well, I've been playing everything else I mentioned, but I knew I couldn't come to the show again because the voices in my head would tell me not to do that. You know?
So, do you have the platinum in Bulletstorm?
Absolutely not.
You poser. You're such a fucking fake fan of Bulletstorm.
Dude, Bulletstorm has a platinum trophy very similar to like The Last of Us, where you cannot get it.
I hate that shit.
There's a multiplayer trophy, like a whole series of multiplayer trophies that the servers don't exist anymore. So you just can't get it. And honestly, the thing is, the game's not easy either. Like the game is pretty tough. And so like even normal mode, like I died quite a bit. So, but yeah,
actually, I had a similar feeling recently. I was like, I've been playing Fall Guys. I've been a lot of fun with it. I was like, let me look at the platinum for this. There's a trophy where you have to win 5 games in a row. It's like, are you kidding me? I've won like 15 all time, but I lost about 35 in between each of those 15 games. It's like, there's no way I would ever get that trophy. So it's like,
and it always seems like you win a game and you're like, oh my God, I won a game. You're so hyped. And you jump into the next match, do fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And either you get completely derailed in a team match
Yep.
and you're just fucked. Or you get the one that's like, what was it called? Slime Mountain. The level where it's just so goddamn hard. And like, you're just like, fuck it, I'm done.
I will say, I briefly mentioned in last week that I've been playing Fall Guys. When was the last time you played Fall Guys?
Probably, we played it for a few months after launch.
There are so many new mini games now. There's still a lot of the basics. Like, I feel like you still do like that first one where you're like running through doors a bunch. Like, there are ones that you definitely I remember from version 1, but there are a lot of new games. Especially there's a lot of new mini like final games, like the championship round. But I haven't really been playing that. I've been playing 2 other games. Came in a game that I talked a little bit about more in depth last week. Slay the Spire. I can't stop playing this game.
Nice.
So I'll be a little brief, but I do want to say that I like this game so much that today I was at the mechanic getting the old tires rotated, if you know what I mean. And I was like, why didn't I bring my Switch? So what did I do, Cayman? I bought it on my phone and played it for an hour on my phone because I just can't stop playing this game. It's just so fun. But as I mentioned in last week's episode, there's still no story. There's nothing bringing me back other than the fun of it. So I sat down and I was like, you know what? I need a story. I need just a fat AAA, just a juicy game.
Yeah.
And I was scrolling through. I toyed with the idea of replaying some games, maybe Deathloop. And then I landed on a game that I never finished, that we've talked about a fair amount on the show, news-wise, but neither of us have ever seen to completion. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm about 7 hours in to Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I think this time it's working for me. I think as of right now, as of today, July 5th, 8:14 p.m. Eastern time, the sun is not yet down.
Sure.
But I think I'm here to say that I will see this game to completion this time. I don't know what's different this time. It's just I'm a little more engaged. I'm a little more drawn in, as it were. I still kind of don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, I do, but I don't.
Sure.
I think I'm an eco-terrorist in this video game.
Fair. Okay.
I think a lot of Shinra, a lot of Mako, a lot of Tifa, a lot of Cloud. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. Much more this time than last time. I think last time, I don't remember what else came out around it last time, but I think I just got distracted last time because there's always a lot of games. But we're in kind of a little bit of a dry spell. It's not that there are no games.
So that's what happened to me when I last played it. I made it probably 15 hours in and then got derailed and then ended up putting like 100 hours into Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, hey, we're going to be talking about that a little later.
True.
But let's jump in to our first news story, Cayman, which is a bit of a weird one.
Okay.
It's your favorite boy, your favorite actor.
Oh, okay.
Chris Pratt. We're going to be talking about Mr. Chris Pratt. He recently had an interview with Variety. I'm pulling from Mark Malkin at Variety. He says, I'm just going to read the article. According to Chris Pratt, his voice performance as Mario and the upcoming feature adaptation of the Super Mario Bros. Video game will be, quote, unlike anything you've heard, end quote.
Okay.
He goes on to say, quote, I worked really closely with the directors and trying out a few things and landed on something that I'm really proud of and can't wait for people to see and hear. It's an animated voiceover narrative. It's not a live action movie. I'm not going to be wearing a plumber suit, running all over. I'm providing a voice for an animated character, and it is updated and unlike anything you've heard in the Mario world before, end quote. Was this written by Hideo Kojima? Or is Chris Pratt actually a robot? Because that is the most unhuman sentence I have ever read.
So we had a conversation off air a few days ago. You might remember this. And you said to me, Cayman, Timothée Chalamet is actually in everything. Tom Holland seems like he's in everything. And then I responded with Chris Pratt is everything.
Correct.
Chris Pratt's just going to do his normal voice.
Right? Like that. Like he's not going to, this isn't going to be unlike anything we've ever heard. He's just going to be Chris Pratt as Mario. Also,
Chris Pratt, not a good actor, guys.
It's an animated voiceover narrative. It's not a live action movie. Like, who refers to an animated movie as an animated voiceover narrative other than a robot?
Has he ever done a role? I mean, Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec is probably the most challenging role I would say Chris Pratt has ever done. Because he just had to be a dumber version of himself, which is very hard to do because Chris Pratt's already dumb as shit.
Sure.
So the truth of the matter is that Chris Pratt literally is going to come on screen and it's going to be Chris Pratt.
There's no other option.
There's no way in hell that he's going to do an Italian accent.
Yeah, no way.
If the studio would shut that shit down faster than they shut down the Rat Sonic. Okay, it's not gonna happen. Chris Pratt is just kind of hyping us up, being all like, "Hey, you should be really excited about my performances, Chris Pratt as Mario," because it's literally just Chris Pratt as Mario.
I kind of like, in a way, I do hope that it's unlike anything we've ever heard because he just goes so far left field.
Oh,
with it. Like, maybe he does do like a robot voice for Mario. Just something just so weird. Maybe he's like Greek Orthodox. Not that Greek Orthodox is weird, but Mario's an Italian plumber. It's a bit out of character to be Greek Orthodox. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I'm really worried about what Chris Pratt is going to do. Because now I'm starting to think that Chris Pratt's going to do something just like ludicrously offensive. But no one has the balls to tell Chris Pratt, like, no, Chris, doing the voice of a gay man is not okay. And he just does it anyway.
The Las Vegas odds right now, the most likely we'll see is a patois accent.
Is that what?
Chet Hanks, yes.
Chet Hanks, fucking crap. You know what? Yeah. I was actually about to say that he was going to do something offensive like that too, but I was like, I'm done, man.
Yeah.
Can we just like, look, I have this, like, I keep seeing the reviews from the new Thor movie.
Yeah.
I'm like really excited about it.
Me too.
But people are like, yeah, so we've definitely hit Marvel overload. Like, you guys really need to stop pumping movies out every 6 months. Like, enough's enough because the quality is not there. I think Chris Pratt should take like a decade off. Come back as Christopher Pratt.
Ooh, Christopher R. Pratt.
Like, what was it? Chris Gaines? Do you remember that? Do you remember fucking Garth Brooks? Garth Brooks. Do you remember Garth Brooks?
I do. Is his old name Christopher Haynes?
Gaines. It was something Gaines. I want to say it was Chris. He did an album as like an emo alt rock guy.
Whoa.
Where he had like bangs and shit.
Whoa.
And it was like, this is you're 100% still Garth Brooks. You just look like an idiot.
Garth Brooks in My Chemical Romance.
You're just a bigger idiot looking Garth Brooks. You fucking 9 Inch Nails dweeb. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, yeah. Well, I think whenever the trailer finally drops, the episode that week will just be the trailer on repeat for an hour and a half.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. So that's, makes us feel some type of way.
Yes. It makes me
I think bad. This next piece is unquestionably makes us both feel bad. Makes us feel.
Does it make us feel? I think it makes me feel worse.
Yeah. I think so too. So, Sucker Punch, makers of Ghost of Tsushima, most recently, infamous Sly Cooper, Rocket Robot on Wheels, to name a few. Sony owned first party studio. They don't miss often. There's been a lot of scuttlebutt on the internet recently. People have been wondering, where's Infamous? Where's Sly Cooper? So much so that Sucker Punch has released a statement. And the statement is not what either of us would want to hear.
No.
This is what they said. This is a press release from Sucker Punch. They say, as we approach 25 years since Sucker Punch first opened, We're proud to look back on the legacy of characters and stories we've created, from Rocket, Robot on Wheels, to Sly Cooper and Infamous, and most recently, Ghost of Tsushima. As our games continue to grow in scale and complexity, they require the full attention of our studio. With our focus on our current project, we have no plans to revisit Infamous or Sly Cooper right now, and no other studio is currently working on projects related to those franchises either. These characters are very special and near and dear to our hearts. So while we'd never say never to reopening those doors down the road, for now, there are no Infamous or Sly Cooper games in development. They go on to say that like they're working on servers for Infamous 2 and like they're bringing some DLC back or something, but it's upsetting. Cayman, how do you feel? Do you think so? I mean, right now, obviously there are no plans, and like studios have told us one thing and then lied to us, but like I believe them. I take them for their word here. Where are you at with this news?
I don't know if I would want another team to take the reins of at least Infamous. I feel like Sly Cooper, like I feel like another team, a smaller studio that Sony has, could make another Sly Cooper game and it would be okay. I don't know if it like Infamous is like you can see still, even in something like Ghost of Tsushima, you can still see like the DNA of Infamous there, right? I don't know if another team could take the series, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they could take the series and turn it into something incredible. Maybe also the reason that like this just is kind of on the back burner is Insomniac is making Spider-Man games, which the games could feel too samey if we were to get another Sucker Punch game or another Infamous game. So like maybe that's why we're not getting it. But I definitely feel like at least for Sly Cooper, like there is a market that is completely untapped right now. There's like a hankering for those mascot platformer beat 'em ups, you know, things like Crash Bandicoot, Banjo-Tooie, you know, even Mario to a certain extent. 3D Mario is, is a mascot platformer.
Sure.
And so the thing is with Sly Cooper, though, Sly Cooper had like such a very unique feel. It was like part stealth, like it did things differently. I mean, it was like just a way better version of Gex, which no one ever remembers that fucking game.
Oh, I love Gex.
But so my thing is like I do feel like it's a huge missed opportunity that Sony is not exploring how to get Sly Cooper back in the fold. I don't know if it's because Insomniac has such a bigger team that they can be working on things like Miles Morales, things like Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet and Clank at the same time. Like,
yeah,
because they're, making a lot of games within that studio right now. So I don't know. Maybe it is like I can see partly like, okay, well, maybe the reason why they aren't doing much more at Sucker Punch is because Ghost of Tsushima was such like a huge undertaking.
Sure.
And presumably the next one will be as well. And you got to think like Miles Morales, a lot of the same bones were there from the first Spider-Man game. But then you look at something like Ratchet and Clank, which is drastically different than anything Sony's produced in the last few years. So it's like, why can't we get a Sly Cooper game? Like, why can't we have like a subsect of people? Because Sly 3 ends on a huge cliffhanger. Like that is a property.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, that's a huge property that like people want those nostalgic type games. Look at how well Ratchet and Clank sold and performed critically. Sly Cooper will most likely do the exact same.
As long as it's made well, yeah.
Which I don't think anything coming out of Sony right now is going to not be made well.
Sure.
And maybe that's also the reason why is that Sony's QA is so high that like, no, things like this cannot just slip through the cracks.
I also find it interesting that in their press release, they specifically refer to 4 franchises, but they only say there's nothing happening for 2 of them. So they mention Rocket, Sly Cooper, Infamous, and Ghost of Tsushima, but they only say that there are no Infamous and Sly Cooper games in development by us or anyone else. Obviously, the next game will be a Ghost of Tsushima 2. Like that, I think is one of the safest bets in gaming right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I find it interesting that they didn't say anything about Rocket Robot on Wheels. I don't know.
I think the reason that they didn't say anything, Patrick, is because they're not making a fucking rocket robot on wheels.
I don't know. Just bring it back. What a game. Honestly, if they bring it back, what if Rocket Robot on Wheels is currently in some form of development because they're bringing it to Nintendo Switch Online.
Ooh.
Just saying.
That they could be. That could
Just
very
saying.
well be. I also
remember,
don't think,
no, it's not going to happen.
My original point still stands, yes.
I think so too. I just remember Patrick, he's maybe 10, 12, roughly. Went up to Hollywood Video. They had a little deal this weekend where you could rent a game for $1. Patrick picked up Rocket Robot on Wheels. Patrick played Rocket Robot on Wheels all weekend, had a great time.
Yeah.
Just saying that could come back. That could happen again. That's all I'm saying.
I had the same situation with Turok.
Turok.
What happened to Turok?
It died. Just like the dinosaurs. Just like those sweet, sweet dinos. Cayman, I think we need to move on to a story that you brought to us. And I'd like to hand it to you.
One of the first times I've ever brought a story forward.
No, that's not true.
It's pretty close to. So to break that down, like Patrick handles, I would say, arguably almost all of the work, if not all of the work for Spotlight Games. Patrick does. I'm just
biceps.
Yeah, he's muscle man over there. I do all the work for STC. Patrick does all the work for Spotlight. That's how we keep sane. So this is the first time I think I've ever actually done anything for this podcast outside of bringing my shitty voice that sounds like a fucking blender full of
I'm not going to sit here and let you degrade yourself like that. You bring a lot to the show. You send us stories all the time. You're great. You have value, but you're still a piece of shit. But tell me about this story from Kotaku.
So someone bought $40,000 of stock to ask Nintendo about F-Zero.
Unbelievable.
This comes from Zach Swisen. I hope I said that right. At Kotaku. He says, this is what he says. He says, many Nintendo fans desperately want a new entry in the popular sci-fi racing series F-Zero. However, only one diehard fan was reportedly dedicated enough to spend over 5 million yen, roughly $40,000 US, on Nintendo stock, giving him a chance to ask the Japanese publisher about F-Zero and its future directly. On June 29th, during an annual shareholder meeting, an investor called in and asked Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa if the company had considered bringing back fan-favorite franchises, specifically F-Zero. It's been over 15 years since the last release in the series, and so the question caught the attention of fans desperate for a new entry in the futuristic racing title. Now, thanks to a new report, we know who asked this question and why. According to Business Insider, the investor asked about F-Zero is a Nintendo fan who spent 5.6 million yen on 100 shares back in February after selling stock from a different company. The investor wished to remain anonymous and is simply known by his Twitter username, Momiji. I don't fucking know how to say that. He describes himself as, quote unquote, a diehard fan. Quote, I have been playing Nintendo since I was a child. Among them, I can't get enough of the series, the sense of speed of F-Zero. While he had purchased enough shares to gain access to the meeting, he told Insider he wasn't guaranteed to get a question in. Asking a question, he said, was a quote unquote bonus. Nintendo later confirmed with the Insider that 100 or more shares are needed to access these annual shareholder meetings. After asking about F-Zero, Nintendo's president offered an answer that basically said, quote, thanks for asking, but no. Quote, it is realistically difficult to develop new titles and remakes, including sequels for every Nintendo game that people request, said Furukawa via translation verified. Well, but we are very grateful and appreciate the expectations our fans have for our games. End quote.
What a move to just drop 40K. And I especially love that there was no guarantee that his question was answered.
Yeah.
Anyone that has that amount of shares just has the potential to ask a question, or they're allowed to ask a question. But he was lucky enough that his question was answered. Unfortunately, the answer was no. But what a funny. I mean, hey, if you're just swimming in it, might as well. Which brings a question that you posed to me that I will now pose to you. If you had $40,000 to spare, what game franchise would you buy stock in simply to ask whether or not it's coming back?
Obviously, the answer to my question is the most simple, which is Bulletstorm. However, that's not the answer the audience wants to hear because they know that. Shit. However, you fucking ruined my answer earlier when you spoiled it by sending me an article about something.
Oh, no way.
My answer literally was going to be Lollipop Chainsaw.
That's hilarious.
I don't know what to say because guess what, guys? Spoiler for the end of the episode: Lollipop Chainsaw is coming back in 2023.
That's really funny.
When I say this, there's only probably one person that's listening right now who's like, "Oh, I remember that game vaguely, but I remember it." That's it. Only one person, and that person's probably me listening to this episode. Again.
I remember. I never played it, but I specifically remember you really liking it way back. Yeah. What, PS3?
So, okay,
right?
so
PS3 360?
PS3 360. So the whole thing is this is a Suda 51 game, which I'm a huge Suda guy. He just makes like the zaniest, weirdest game. So for those not familiar with the name, No More Heroes, Killer 7. I forgot what that one game is. It's like set in hell where you have to go get your girlfriend back. For the life of me, I can't. Shadow of the Damned. Shadow of the Damned. He did like he's done more games as well, but a lot of it's been in the No More Heroes world. However, he did a game with James fucking Gunn called Lollipop Chainsaw, in which you play a cheerleader at a high school during a zombie apocalypse. It's very much like she's very much a ripoff of Buffy. She carries around the severed head of her boyfriend Nick, who talks to her the whole time. And it is just it's a standard hack and slash game. A budget, it feels like a budget title, and you just hack and slash zombies up, and you'll get parts where like you'll get a combo and you'll like hit superpower, and every time you like chop a head off, rainbows and confetti shoot out everywhere. The game is absolutely fucking bizarre. In no world would this game ever exist today. And it's coming back in 2023. Yeah. So unfortunately for me, or fortunately for me, I don't have to spend $40,000 to get that answer.
Yeah.
We found out today. Patrick, what about you though? I'm curious as to what you would blow a fuck ton of money on.
So I feel like this is something that I have kind of talked about in a previous episode. So I'll be a little brief, but and like I kind of went through the old noggin to see like, is there another one that comes to mind? And honestly, there isn't. So my answer is Conker's Bad Fur Day. I still think that in 2022 or 2023, that game can work again.
Oh yeah.
With the right creative minds behind it and the right like movie spoofs, essentially.
Yeah.
Like with the amount of like blockbusters that are coming out these days, like there's gotta be, I mean, hell, they could like, there could be a whole section just ripping off Fast and Furious. Like that would fit perfectly in that world. Like that kind of just off the wall, like stupid humor. Yeah. So that would be my answer is Conker's Bad Fur Day. And that's another one where if we had recorded this 2 days ago, I think we would have been like, no way Lollipop Chainsaw happens. I don't think Conker's Bad Fur Day happens, but hey, maybe. If Lollipop Chainsaw can.
Oh yeah, look, if Lollipop Chainsaw can, then fuck, Bulletstorm could have a sequel coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And guess what? I don't know if you know this, Patrick. Cliffhanger at the end. There's a
of
teaser.
Lollipop Chainsaw?
No, there's a teaser at the end of Bulletstorm setting up a sequel that we're never gonna get.
Bullet
we're never
Hurricane.
Gonna get it because Gearbox are cowards.
Cowards.
Randy Pitchford, go fuck yourself.
What a piece of shit.
What a fucking loser.
Well, I do look forward to playing Lollipop Chainsaw at some point, but something that I kind of want to play now, Cayman.
Yes.
Is Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course. This is a DLC downloadable content, Cayman, for a very beloved fan favorite Cuphead. A couple of our listeners currently playing right now, Katie and Elliot.
Ooh.
Hi, Katie. Hi, Elliot. I know you guys have been playing. This has been in the works for like 4 years now, at least. Like I feel like they've been talking about The Delicious Last Course for a long time. But I got a couple reviews. So I pulled one from GameSpot, one from IGN. But overall, the word on the street is the DLC is just as good as the original game. So right now it has an 87 on OpenCritic. It got a 9 out of 10 from IGN. This is Steve Petit's, GameSpot. 9 out of 10 from GameSpot. Steve Petit. Steve says, Cuphead, the delicious last course, is worth the long wait. Miss Chalice gives players a brand new way to approach each boss, and each of the new boss fights is an imaginative triumph from both a visual and gameplay perspective. The new parry-focused fights add a twist to the Cuphead platforming formula that feels right at home while offering something new to the experience. Even the already great main campaign is improved thanks to Miss Chalice and a trio of new weapons that shake things up for Cuphead and Mugman. Cuphead, the delicious last course, adds more than a cherry on top. It changes the recipe to create a game that's more scrumptious than before. And then Mitchell Saltzman at IGN, also a 9 out of 10, says Cuphead, the delicious last course, is the perfect send-off for a game that embodies the phrase one of a kind. Experienced players will likely muscle their way through the 6 bosses and optional King of Games mini bosses in just a handful of hours, but the quality of those hours far outweighs their quantity. All of the bosses, including the King of Games mini bosses, are among the best in the whole game, and that's saying a lot when you consider how high the bar was already set. I'm not normally one for dessert, but if you dine on Cuphead, you don't want to miss the delicious last course. What a line, Mitchell.
What a line, Mitch.
What is most interesting to me about this is actually something that Steve says in his, where it sounds like you can actually replay the entire original game as this new character, Miss Chalice, which I find interesting. Like, that's a cool, it's not just, because I never finished the original game because it's so goddamn hard.
Yeah.
So fun to look at, really like amazing aesthetic, love the music, but I'm just a little baby who goes goo goo gaga when he tries to play Cuphead. And and so yeah, but yeah, this, did you ever play Cuphead? Were you a Cuphead drinker?
No.
Didn't think so.
Absolutely. No, not like you said, too difficult. I will say, however, Cuphead is a fantastic game to watch being speed ran. Speedruns of Cuphead are so cool to watch. It's like the only way like I will take any time to like put towards it, just because I know, like, one, I'm not a side scroller person anyway. But like watching speedruns are really cool. Which, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but last week was SGDQ. So there's a bunch of fantastic speedruns that were done. Earlier today, I watched Jimmy Johnson, anything with an engine speedrun. That was hilarious. So
the NASCAR driver, Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah, you just got to check it out. They're all on YouTube, so you can go watch all of them. There's a ton of speedruns this year. They raised a fuck ton of money. So I always love when they do their events. But yeah, to get back on topic though, yeah, Cuphead, not a game for me.
Yeah.
The game looks beautiful. I wish there was an easy mode because I would want to play it, but like I let people have it. Have your thing. It's like dark. It's like the Souls games. Like, but have your thing. I know, but I really do think that like Elden Ring is probably considerably easier than every single other Souls game. Just the way that it's designed. So like, I don't think that that's fair for me to be like, I'm now a Souls guy. I definitely don't think I am. I think Elden Ring's just easier.
Sure.
Still very tough, but considerably easier. But yeah, no, I think it's great. And also like, look, I from what it sounds like, it turned out perfect. I mean, not perfect, but turned out good enough.
Yeah.
And I mean, good enough. I mean, it's got almost 90% on OpenCritic. So
got me a sweet 17 points on Fantasy Critic.
Yeah, it's about time you got some points.
Oh, I'm on your heels now,
Patrick. Why don't we move? Are you okay with moving on? We move on to another game that came out.
Absolutely, another speed running, big speed running game. Tell us about it, Cam.
Yeah, so this is Neon White. So I'm going to go with the first review. This comes from Luke Riley at IGN, who gave it an 8 out of 10. He says, Neon White is a quick and compulsive first-person platformer that's surprisingly simple to understand and play, but packs a very stern speedrunning challenge at its core. Tying your combat options to your traversal mechanics, Neon White makes every encounter a deadly parkour puzzle that can be replayed over and over in search of the perfect run and the tightest time. The dialogue between its unlikable trope of angst-ridden, anime-inspired assassins may be a hokey misstep, but its airtight level design and fantastic sense of momentum ensure Neon White's gameplay is something to celebrate. Then this comes from Richard Wakeling over at GameSpot, who gave it a 9 out of 10. Richard says, alas, one misstep isn't quite enough to derail what is one of the year's best and most original games. Neon White is flawless from a gameplay perspective, and it is not only stylish and incredibly satisfying, but a magnetic execution of a fascinating idea. There's nothing quite else like it, and you'd be doing yourself a massive disservice if you don't at least give it a try.
Have you watched any gameplay or like seen any trailers of Neon White?
I feel like I shouldn't even be doing the show because I have no fucking idea what Neon White is.
So this game kind of came out of nowhere for me, but
Okay.
and if I don't have my other computer yet, so I would be playing B-roll, but I've noticed that the B-roll lately has just been choppy. So I'm waiting until I get the new computer to do that. So I would be showing the B-roll, but I'm not. But it is like it's amazing. It's like a first person game that is like all about speedrunning, but like it's like card based while also being like a first person shooter kind of. Like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but the art style is really cool. Almost has like a, from what I've seen, it almost kind of has like a No More Heroes look to it. That really like bright neon-y, like really bright blues and that kind of thing. But it looks really cool. It's a game that I want to give a try soon. But yeah, I bet there's some people in our audience that would find Neon White interesting. So if any of those reviews piqued your interest, give it the old college try. There's a lot coming out soon that we can give the old college try to. That I realize I never put that up. Nintendo just had a direct not a week ago.
Not even a week ago.
And there's a lot to talk about. So I figure let's use the rest of the show to go through those announcements, talk about what looks good, what don't, and how we're feeling about all of it.
Okay, let's do this.
So I'm going to go in order of the show, of their show. They opened, so we'll breeze past a fair amount of this, I think. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak showed a trailer. It's out now. Expansion for Monster Hunter means nothing to me, but I'm sure there's an audience out there.
Sure.
After that, Nier Automata. I don't remember how you say it exactly. The End of Your Ha edition is coming October 6th. This game rules. I know you agree with me.
I platinumed it.
You did platinum it. You almost got me to go back and platinum it. But I would have to start over, which I'm not opposed to at some point, but really cool game. I hope it runs well on Switch. I think they've said that it's going to be like a locked 30 frames, which I think would be fine.
Yeah,
that would be my biggest concern.
Yeah, that was mine too. The game is essentially a bullet hell. And visually, the game's not the most attractive looking game. It definitely feels like graphically it looks like the early games from like PS4, Xbox One era. Like it's not like the most attractive thing in the world. However, there's a lot of pixels on screen at one point in time. And that worries me a little bit about like how that will perform. So if they do lock it in, like the frame rate gets locked in, like hopefully that prevents chugging from taking place. But it is essentially pixel perfect everything. Like if you want to pull the dodges off, game is so much fun to play.
It's so fun.
So it is one of the most interesting. There's like 8 endings that
more than that.
Yeah. But like every time you replay the game, it's always different, which is something I've never experienced before.
I think one of, if not the most unique video game I've ever played.
Yeah, it's so wild and such a cool game. And also, like, if you want to play it on consoles, like, and you want to 100% it, super easy.
Yeah.
Like you can, the platinum is not hard to get. You can literally pay with in-game currency to unlock trophies that you don't want to get. That's which honestly, I kind of love that aspect because it plays into the narrative on like how really meta it can get at times. And it can get like incredibly meta. So like it works really well, but very interesting game, a lot of fun. And I do think like if it runs well, I think this game is perfect for the Switch.
I agree.
Because like this is a game like pick up and go. Like, oh, you're in a car ride and you want to dump an hour in right now on a car ride. Like this is a perfect game to do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a perfect spot. I just am concerned it might not run as well as it does elsewhere.
Agreed. So definitely we'll wait and see. But it's coming with like all the DLC and like exclusive costumes and stuff. So like it'll be a full package, which is also exciting.
Yeah, that's cool.
After that, we got Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, which is a metal as hell title, but have no clue what it is really. It was a cinematic trailer. Hard to say. I think it's going to be like a detective adventure game. Hard to say.
It's kind of how they played it. It looks really cool.
Like, it looks really cool.
Looks so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no clue what the fuck this game is.
Yeah. So that's one that I will be keeping my laser eyes on. That's supposedly coming 2023. After that, we got Super Bomberman R, which is coming in 2023. That's a franchise I just don't care about.
It sounds like a game for Evan Brand. Actually, the next like 2-3 games we're doing are fucking the most Evan Brando games ever.
Yeah, I could see him being a Bomberman R boy. After that, we got Mega Man Battle Network from the Game Boy Advance is coming to Switch next year. This is something I've actually never heard of, but it's according to IGN, I pulled this from IGN, the popular Mega Man Battle Network series is coming to Nintendo Switch in a new bundle that combines all 10 GBA games. The collection will be coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2023 and will be sold in 2 parts if purchased digitally. If you're a Mega Man fan, then I guess you're going to be excited for this, but I'm not really a Mega Man guy. But the internet lost their mind when this was announced.
Good for the internet.
Yeah, good for the internet. After that, we got this is also a game that Patrick remembers renting from Hollywood Video a few years after Rocket Robot on Wheels. Pac-Man World Repack, where I wrote down a quote from the trailers I was watching it, because the premise of this game is that Pac-Man's family has been kidnapped and you got to go find them. And it's like, I don't think I knew that Pac-Man had a family, but it sounds like
there's a Miss Pac-Man.
Well, sure, but it's not Mrs. So that could just be.
Is it his daughter?
Could be his daughter. Could be his mom. Could be his cousin. Could be his neighbor.
Oh,
is it Mrs. Pac-Man or is it just Ms. Pac-Man?
Oh, fuck. I'm both too old and too young to give a shit about Pac-Man.
You're both ancient and just a wee baby boy. That's coming August 26th. So if you care about that. Next one, this was a highlight for me. Blanc.
Yeah, same.
In Blanc, you play as a fawn and wolf cub who must work together to find their way home in the snow. Described as an emotional adventure, Blanc is completely text-free, so anyone can experience this story. Play with a friend in local or online co-op when Blanc is released in February 2023. Amazing art style.
This looks so cool.
Looks so cool. Great logo. Go check out Blanc if you like those indie games that look really pretty. After that, we got a Monkey Island Returns trailer, and they announced that this is going to be coming to Switch first on console. So it'll be launching later this year on Switch and PC, and then later coming to Xbox and PlayStation. And then after that, which is something that we kind of pontificated on last week's episode, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. We got a full look at that. They confirmed it's coming October 20th of this year, and they showed us some gameplay. The combat has been changed up a little bit. It's no longer a turn-based strategy game. It is an action strategy game. I think is how they described it. So it's no longer.
Yeah, I think it's a good call.
Yeah, I do too. I really like the direction that it seems to be heading in, and you can play as Bowser in this one.
Yeah, that's cool as hell.
Which is cool.
I really enjoyed the first one.
Me too.
My one issue with the first one is that there was just like towards probably the 3/4 mark, there was just like a very steep incline in difficulty.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere. And it was very frustrating because you're like, you feel good. And then all of a sudden you're like, I feel like everything I've learned up to this point means nothing.
Sure.
So the balancing, if they get that fixed, I think this will probably help that too. Like getting the balancing worked out more when it's more action based. It can be a little less like skill dependent. Like you can, or maybe not skill dependent, but like you can be more fluid with how you approach combat. Can fit your playstyle a little bit better. So I think that's a good decision on their part, but I'm very excited about that.
Me too. For any of you out there that haven't played this game, I'm assuming that there will be some sweet sales on this before it comes out, because it's not a Nintendo game. It's a Ubisoft game. So, because Nintendo, we all know that they rarely put their games on sale, but I've seen this game as low as like $10 on the eShop. So definitely keep an eye out for this.
Definitely a Ubisoft move.
Yeah, for sure. After that, we got another really interesting one visually, a game called RPG Time, The Legend of Right. This awesome.
fucking incredible.
This looks so cool. So
this was probably my one hype moment.
Yeah, good.
Well, I mean, I already knew all the stuff,
Sure.
like going into this, so a lot of the big reveals weren't as big.
Sure.
Like this, I had no clue about, and I'm like 100% sold. This looks so fucking cool.
So, RPG Time: Legend of Right. You follow Kenta, and Kenta is an aspiring game creator who is working on their first hand-drawn RPG, The Legend of Right. Play through Kenta's notebook with over 200 pages with puzzles to solve, draw, and erase. RPG Time will be released on the Nintendo Switch on August 18th. So, like the game, the graphic style it's like a sketch style.
Mm.
There was a game that came out a few years ago on PlayStation from David Jaffe. I forget what it's called, but it had a similar vibe, but I just didn't like that aesthetic. I really like the aesthetic that they've done for this one. Like, but it's very similar where it all looks like hand drawn and the animation looks like it's been drawn. Like as they move, like you can tell like it's a scribble with a pencil. But yeah, it looks really, really, really cool. So check that one out. After that, we can burn through several of the next ones. Sonic Frontiers got a gameplay trailer. Disney Dreamlight Valley got a trailer, which is basically Disney Animal Crossing. Live Alive is coming 7/22, and they said that there's a demo out now. So actually, friend of the show, Nick, messaged us asking if we had played the demo yet. It seems like he's really enjoying the demo, but I have not played it myself. After that, another like cozy farm simulator looking game.
It's actually kind of cool.
This one did look cool though. The art style, it's almost like Miyazaki like. Doraemon Doraemon Story of Seasons, Friends of the Great Kingdom is the name of that one. Not a great name, but
a fucking mouthful.
It's a mouthful, but it looks pretty cool. Minecraft Legends got another trailer, which is something we've seen a lot of recently. Dragon Quest Treasures. I don't know if this is an announcement or just a trailer. I don't follow Dragon Quest at all, so if you're a Dragon Quest person, there's a new one coming out.
I like the standard Dragon Quest games. Wasn't big on builders. This looks interesting. This looks like it actually has like combat involved as well too, which cool. I like. I enjoy the actual core games of Dragon Quest.
Nice. These next three are three that I'm actually various levels of very excited for. Out now on Switch is Portal Companion Collection, which is a bundle of Portal 1 and 2, which if you've never played either of them, they're both 10 out of 10, incredible games. I'm sure they, at this point, because they're pretty old, they probably run great on Switch. If you've never played Portal, you got to.
They're Portal's fantastic.
$19.99. Great price.
Absolutely incredible.
After that, Harvestella, which this is a Square Enix game, and it looks like Stardew Valley if Stardew Valley was also an action RPG.
Yeah.
Like, and so I'm cautiously optimistic about this game, but I think it'll probably be just very fine. But I've never seen this type of a game, these like cozy farm simulator type games with like hyper violent action RPG elements. So I don't know. There's like a weird dissonance with it, which is kind of cool. Did Harvestella do anything for you, Cayman?
It's interesting. Do we know for a fact if this is a Switch exclusive?
Let's see. Coming to Switch on November 4th, but I don't know that we know that it's an exclusive.
Because like I could see this being fun on Switch, but at the same time I'm also like I feel like this seems more of a game that I would like to just be kicked back on my couch, up on the big screen, focus more on the fighting monsters and shit. Because it does. It's like like you said, action RPG, but it almost looks more like Final Fantasy meets Stardew Valley.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
And so I don't know. Like my struggle is like I'm very down with like JRPGs, like turn-based RPGs on the Switch. I don't know if it's because I got like shitty hands or like what the problem is, but like I really struggle in handheld mode, like being able to play games that require a lot of like dexterity. I don't know if it's like the width or like what the problem I have with it is, or if it's just I'm used to having like, but like when I play like games on the Switch, unless it's something like Animal Crossing, I'm playing on the TV. Like I really struggle, but unless it's something like Bravely Default, which I can play in handheld mode because it's turn-based, I don't have to be as like moving constantly.
Sure.
So this is one where I struggle because I'm like, this does seem really cool, like something I would like to play, but I'm not sure if this is a game that I want to play in handheld mode.
Okay.
Which a lot of times I feel like with my Switch, like that's what I typically use it most, unless it's party games. If I'm playing like a single player game, I'm doing it almost exclusively in handheld mode. Party games obviously on the TV.
Yeah.
So like it's tough. Like I don't know. This one I think could go either way for me. But the concept is interesting. A lot of like farm sims in this fucking direct. Like the amount of farm sims is insane to me.
Yeah, I was a bit shocked by that myself.
Kayla from JK Games is like probably freaking out right now over the amount of farm sims that she can play.
I mean, I know she's going to be very excited about Disney Dreamlight Valley. I think I've heard her talk about that on their own show. But and then so they closed out the show with what I think is most exciting for me, even though I've already played 2 of the 3 games. And then we finally got confirmation that Persona is coming to Switch. So October 21st, we're going to get Persona 5 Royale. Or Royal, just Royal, not Royale. And then coming soon will be Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable. I've not played Persona 3 Portable, so I'm excited to play that for the first time. But I've been looking for a reason. Like several times I've almost brought my Vita out to play through Persona 4 again. And honestly, I might even just do that so that I can try to get more trophies for Persona 4 Golden. But Persona 5 Royal specifically is a game that I've been wanting to play because I played the original. And like I've probably said on this show multiple times, I liked Persona 5 a lot, but the whole time I was just like, I want this as a handheld, like Persona 4 was. And so it had a really deep sale kind of recently in PlayStation. So I bought it on PlayStation, but since I can't play anything mobile on PlayStation, I mean, like, you can, but it doesn't work as well for me as it does for Xbox. So I'm like, I think I'm definitely going to be getting Persona 5 Royal on Switch, unless the reviews say that it runs like dog shit, which I think is a valid concern. I'm really excited. And especially for those of you in our audience that have never played a Persona game, these games are so fucking good.
I am most excited right now to play Persona 3 Portable.
Cool.
Whenever that gets released. Because that is one that I dabbled with. I dabbled with it back, probably on the PSP. My cousin had a PSP and he had it. But that was that, you know? It was one of those where I got to play a little bit of it when we were hanging out. So I never really got to play it like through its entirety. I've seen the anime movie, that like a 2-part movie, and I'm like, this looks so fucking cool. So it coming out on Switch, especially because, like you said, that is the one thing with Persona that I like. I mean, obviously, love playing it. Like, I can't wait to play Persona 4 Golden on my TV.
Sure.
When it comes, you know, like that's exciting to me.
That's true.
You know, because I'm like, I played it in handheld mode, but like, I'm also like, I'm excited to now play it on the big screen, and it's gonna have like remastered visuals, so it'll look better. But yeah, something like Persona 5 in handheld mode, like just sitting on the couch, crushing, grinding through dungeons, like that is like what the Vita excelled at with shit like that. It coming to the Switch is like just even better. Like this is definitely like Persona 3 for me will be a definite pickup. I'm not sure when or if I will play Persona 5 again, since I've played Persona 5 to completion and Persona 5 Royale to completion. And
that for you, that's not
that's like 250 hours of gameplay.
And it's also like $180, because the other sad reality with these 3 is that they're all going to come out at least $60. And so that kind of does stink. Like, I wish there was a way.
Do you think that I think that they'll release Persona 5 Royal probably at 60. But do you think that they're going to release P3P and P4G at $60? That seems very steep.
Maybe like 30 each, maybe.
I mean, I could see them releasing them. I could see them releasing them at 30 and then releasing Persona 5 at a higher price, because it is a much larger game.
Yeah, I hope so.
And it's like the complete package. Or they'll probably all release at $30. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they released Persona 5 Royal at $30. I mean, it's been you can get it on PlayStation 5 right now for like $20,
maybe,
if that. So, with Switch, obviously, I think they'll charge more for it to be on Switch, but like I don't foresee at least them charging $60 for the other two. Like if that seems unrealistic.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. But yeah, oh man, I'm so excited for our friends that haven't played Persona, because Persona 4 Golden,
such a good fucking game.
I have a list on the app GG, my top 100 video games of all time. As of today, Persona 4 Golden is my third favorite video game of all time. So,
okay, hold on. Number 1, obviously, is The Last of Us.
Yes.
Number 2. What is number 2? Shit. Man, it's tough.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Let me see. I would probably say like your number 2 if I had to make a guess. Peppa Pig.
Well, we're going to be talking about the Peppa Pig game very shortly, but it's not my number 2 video game of all time because I've never played it. It very well could be my number 2 video game of all time. My number 2 is Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, okay, so you just went 1, 2. Okay, that's fair.
And then Persona 4, and then God of War 2018, and then KOTOR.
Interesting.
Right now are my top 5. Mass Effect 2, Spider-Man Remastered, Ni no Kuni, BioShock.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to even begin to attempt to kind of break down what the fuck mine looks like.
Portal 2. That's my number 11, and it's on Switch now. Yeah. Let's bring it home. We're just over an hour. Let's bring it home. We have actually, this is probably the beefiest update we've ever had for the calendar to round out the show. Partially because we didn't do a normal show last week. So a couple quick ones. No Man's Sky coming to Switch October 7th. I actually feel like we talked about that one. I think I just didn't delete that from a previous episode. Plague Tale Requiem, we have confirmation that it is coming to PS5, Xbox Series S and X on Game Pass, and I think Switch actually as well.
It is
on 10/18 on October 18th. So October quickly becoming a month with a lot of shit in it.
It'll be cloud streaming on Switch.
That's right. Good pull. And then Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope we talked about October 20th. A remake for Lollipop Chainsaw. I kind of cheating because this is usually just 2022 games, but I wanted to put it in here in case we didn't talk about it, but we did. Coming next year, 2023. And then a couple updates for the Xbox and PlayStation. Xbox Game Pass for July. We're going to be seeing Last Call BBS. They're bringing back all the Yakuza games. So Yakuza 0, Kiwami 2. I think they're bringing back more than that, or maybe the other ones just never left. But they're bringing back a lot of Yakuza games. DJ Max Respect 5. No idea what that is. Match Point Tennis Championships. Road 96. This is a game I've heard a lot about recently. It's an indie game. This is coming July 7th. So that's one that I'm going to definitely check out. And then July 14th, we're getting Escape Academy, My Friend Peppa Pig. Definitely giving that a shot. I'll be giving my full review in a few short weeks.
Holy fuck. Please do.
I will. Overwhelm, some Paw Patrol game, and Power Wash Simulator are all coming to Game Pass.
Power Wash Simulator, that game's gonna fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be great. And then that is a dad ass game, and I'm a dad ass dad right now. With no children. PS Plus games for July, Crash Bandicoot. I wrote Bandicoot 4. It's about time. I'm really excited for this one because I never played it and I never bought it. So I know you have played it and bought it, or at least you bought it. Dark Pictures Anthology, Man of Medan, and Arcageddon. Arcageddon, I have no idea what that is, but you brought this one up. It's kind of odd that we're getting Man of Medan on PS4 because it's already on the PS Plus Extra and Premium tiers. Feels a bit.
I guess they're throwing a bone to the people who didn't upgrade. Maybe I don't know.
But also critically, Man of Medan is like by far the worst performing of all of the Dark Pictures games. So I'm surprised that that's the one they picked. But anyway, and then finally, this was actually almost a story for today, but I think we just had a little too much to talk about. You remember a game came in called Skull and Bones? Do you remember the Skulls and the Bones came in?
Yeah.
So on day of release for this episode, Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, they are doing a live stream gameplay reveal. Ubisoft is having one for Skull and Bones, which is shocking to me because this is a game that was announced 6 years ago, and we never heard from it again, other than various stories of it being in development hell. So I'm honestly, I can't wait to see what it looks like, because I think it's either going to look like a dumpster fire or it's going to look like the most 6 out of 10 video game. I think those are the two options for this game.
I distinctly remember us having the conversation on JK Games, and we were talking about like, what do we expect from Ubisoft's Direct? And I was like, if we don't see Skull and Bones at this Direct or like at their showcase, this game will never come out. Guess what happened?
It's coming. It's getting its own. I think they listened to you. They heard you. Easy Guillemot heard your challenge and said, we will have a live stream of Skull and Bones for gaming.
That was beautiful, Patrick.
Thank you. I think that wasn't
you know who didn't listen? Nintendo. We still have not seen fucking Bayonetta 3.
So I thought about that because I remember you saying that if we don't hear from it, we'll never hear from them again. Apparently, Bayonetta 3 is kind of a first party game. It's not like officially a first party game, but I think it's more like a second party game. And they said that this was only going to be our third party partners. So I think that maybe via a loophole, I think maybe is why we didn't see Bayonetta. So I haven't dropped them from my Fantasy Critic League yet. But I'm very close to kicking them to the curb and making room for Overwatch 2 or something. That's our show, folks. Let us know what you thought. Give us an email, mail@spotlightgames.net. Shoot us a DM on Twitter at SpotGameSpot or Instagram or TikTok at SpotlightGamesPod. You can follow us on Twitch so that you know when we go live so you can be in the chat. Twitch.tv/SpotlightGamesPod. Why don't you go follow our other podcast, Save Trash Cinema. Listen to this week's episode because you're going to need a prescription afterwards.
Yeah, you're going to need a lot of something.
And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I don't know why you would, at Patrick Schwag. If you want to follow Cayman on Twitter, at Kid Cayman. If you want to follow McDonald's on Twitter, at McDonald's.
At McDonald's.
Yeah. That's our show, folks. Thanks for coming along on the ride. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you have what can only be described as a great rest of your week. So until we meet again, Cayman, and until we meet again to our sweet, sweet audience, I thank you. I love you.
I love you.
I love you so much. Good night.
Bye-bye.